If you're watching this, you've likely been asking yourself, am I losing my mind? That gut-wrenching doubt, that sickening internal alarm that tells you that the world has tilted on its axis. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of profound trauma, confusion and isolation. That feeling, it's real. I want to spend a moment here right at the start to validate the symptoms that you're likely experiencing. Perhaps that it's that you find yourself reading old emails or looking at old photos, desperately trying to prove your own memory. Perhaps you walk on actual tiptoes in your own house, constantly waiting for the next explosive statement or change. Maybe you're suffering from anxiety, sleeplessness, or chronic self-doubt. I'm Kelly Oliver Dougall, and I specialise in providing counselling support to trans widows and women impacted by gender ideology in their family. And I've created a safe, confidential and non-judgmental space. And I want to be clear, this is about counselling support for your emotional health, not about political commentary. You're here because you need to heal. And let's define the core problem: ambiguous loss. And this term was coined by Pauline Boss, and it describes a loss without a clear ending or clear body to mourn. It's the most confusing and painful form of grief. You're dealing with a loss that society refuses to acknowledge. And in your counselling, we focus on the type of loss where the person that you love is physically present but psychologically or emotionally absent. It's like trying to hold smoke. There's no clear body to bury. There's no formal divorce decree that covers the loss of the relationship itself. It's a chronic, ongoing grief. And in this situation, you're mourning three distinct things: the loss of your partner, the core person that you knew and loved is gone, replaced by a new, often rigid self. It's the loss of your shared future. You're mourning the life, dreams and history you planned together, the shared vision of retirement or simply growing old together. The loss of your social status. You lose the simple fundamental identity of being a wife, a daughter or a mother in the way that you understand it, replaced by labels like cis partner or lesbian or co-parent. And every long-term relationship relies on a shared reality, a mutual agreement on history, roles and values. The crisis occurs when one partner, in service of a new identity, declares that your shared mutual reality was false all along. And this reinterpretation is the root cause of your intense confusion. You're watching your entire history being demolished, brick by brick. And this is what leads to gaslighting, the systemic attempt to make someone doubt their own memory, perception or sanity. And in this context, it may not be malicious. It can be an unconscious byproduct of the partner's need to justify their transition, but the effect on the recipient is devastating. An example of gaslighting is when your partner dismisses 20 years of marriage, saying, "I was living a lie." That's not an opinion, it's an erasure of your shared experience, forcing you to question, was my love a lie too? Another example, your partner relabels your genuine past affection as homosocial bonding or misgendering. It takes courage just to listen to this. If any of this is resonating, know that you are not alone. Take a deep breath. If you need immediate support, you can book a free 20-minute consultation now at kellyoliverdougall.co.uk. To be clear, we're not diagnosing anybody. We are looking at patterns of behaviour that erode your emotional health, patterns often seen in controlling relationships, and we must focus on the impact that these dynamics have on you. Let's discuss the centre stage phenomenon. When a crisis of identity occurs, the transition often requires the partner to become the exclusive centre of attention and emotional support, which crowds out your needs, your pain and the grief of everyone else in the family. And your pain's just seen as an inconvenience to their journey. This is where you become emotionally scapegoated. You become the repository for all the guilt and anger associated with the difficult transition. Imagine a seesaw where the weight of one person's identity is so heavy, it constantly crushes your side to the ground. That emotional exhaustion of constantly caring for their needs while being told that your own are invalid is just not sustainable. Next is the trauma of rewriting history. Focus on the pain of having your identity erased. The wife is replaced by ex-wife or cis woman, and mum is replaced by co-parent, often without consultation. This forced historical revisionism is a profound psychological injury, and you are grieving, yet you're unable to mourn publicly because your history is contested and your grief is pathologized as transphobia. This loss of history creates a painful cognitive dissonance where the person that you see daily is actively dismantling the foundation of your reality. And we see the cult of ideology. The relationship should be built on vulnerability and intimacy, but the rigidity of current gender ideology replaces intimacy with compliance. This ideology acts as an external authority that forbids genuine questioning, messy conversations leading to profound self-censorship. So the pain here is that you can't ask a simple, honest question without facing accusations. You fear saying, how will this affect our financial security? Or what about the promises that were made to each other? Because the answer is often an explosive, emotional accusation of malice. And this is the definition of walking on eggshells in your own home. Understanding the pattern is the first step to breaking free from the confusion. If you've recognised these dynamics in your life, seeking guidance is essential. And my counselling service is designed to help you separate the truth from the noise. You can reserve your free 20-minute slot now at kellyoliverdougall.co.uk/counselling. So, tools that you can use to re-anchor your reality. You can't control their narrative, but we absolutely can control our own internal boundaries and responses. So the first tool that you could use is the witness journal. And that's not a diary of your feelings, it's a notebook of facts. So you can use it to record facts only, date, time, exact quote, exact behaviour, and it must be objective. So the journal acts as an external objective source to counter the gaslighting effect. When should you read it? Well, only when you're doubting yourself, when your memory's challenged. Your witness journal holds the truth for you. This practice is an essential psychological guardrail. The next tool that you could use is separating care from agreement. This is crucial for managing guilt. So you can deeply care for the person who is transitioning while fundamentally disagreeing with the ideology or the methods that they are using. And this distinction liberates you from the obligation to pretend and from the accusation that you are a bigot just for holding your reality. You can hold two contradictory truths. I wish them peace and happiness, and this process has destroyed my life, and that is deeply unfair. Both things can be true at the same time. Tool 3 that you could try, low contact communication scripts. These are simple, non-reactive phrases to maintain your boundary without escalating conflict. So the goal is to act as a grey rock, to make yourself emotionally uninterested when conflict arises. The rules of grey rock communication are quite simple: neutral tone, low volume, minimal explanation. So, for example, I hear that is how you see the past. I see it differently. Then change the subject or disengage. Another example, I can't talk about that right now. I need to focus on something else. The children, work, be self. You don't need to justify yourself. Example 3, I'm not going to debate this with you. That can be used really effectively if there's aggressive questioning of you. Another tool that you could find useful is finding a community where you can say whatever you want and need to. So emphasize the vital need for trusted external support. You need people who hold the reality for you and confirm your sanity. So that must be a safe, confidential space where you are free to speak the truth without fear of being cancelled or labelled. And this is the difference between surviving and thriving. And these tools are easier to implement when you've got a trained professional guiding you. If you're ready to stop walking on eggshells and start re-anchoring your life, you can secure your place for a free 20-minute consultation at kellyoliverdougall.co.uk/counselling. Moving forward and embracing the truth. So the final barrier to your peace is shame. We must address the deep shame often felt. Shame that the relationship failed, shame about disagreement, shame that the family is fractured. The ideology that you face is designed to force shame upon you. The journey is to switch from I'm a bad person for disagreeing, which is where the shame is, to I did my best in an impossible situation, which is having self-compassion for yourself. And here are 3 quick self-compassion practices. So compassionate writing. This is where you write a letter to yourself as if you were your best, most loving friend. What would they say about your struggle? Physical anchoring. That's when you're feeling overwhelmed. Find a solid object. So that could be a wall or a chair, and focus on the feeling of that object supporting you. Re-anchor yourself to the physical world. And try setting one small boundary. So it's hard to set boundaries, but you need to practice. So this week, commit to one tiny boundary, even if it's just 10 minutes of alone time. Boundary setting is self-care. We must also create space for grieving what's gone. It's okay to mourn the person who's physically present but psychologically gone. You've got my permission to fully validate the ambiguity of that loss. The grief process is not linear, and it includes mourning the past and the future that you planned. And you need to build the new normal, so your future is not over. Focus on rediscovering your own identity, purpose and values that existed outside of the relationship. What are the 3 non-negotiable values that you need to rebuild your life around right now? So perhaps that's integrity, safety, peace. You get to choose what those are. Create a non-negotiable truth statement that you repeat to yourself every single day. And finally, I just want to say that you're not crazy. The doubt is a response to loss, the loss of shared reality. You've got the tools to re-anchor, and the truth that the way you see the world is valid. The time to reclaim your voice and sanity is now. Don't spend another day doubting your reality or sacrificing your truth. My specialised counselling service provides the confidential expert support that you need, and I invite you to take the first step with a free, no obligation 20-minute consultation. You can visit kellyoliverdougall.co.uk. Thank you for choosing to reclaim the truth.